From EC Mastery. I am super excited and extremely grateful to have the amazing Leon join me today. Leon, you're currently, I thought originally you were going to be in Sydney, but you're now in Auckland. Is that correct?
Yeah. Last minute invite to speak at a workshop. So took the flight yesterday just across to Auckland.
That's awesome. Well, I'm just going to tell everyone a little bit about us, how we got to meet, first of all, if you don't mind, to give a bit of context. So both of us are in a mastermind program, Attacking Most coaching program, and I watched your session recently and I thought it was amazing because you're obviously traveling far more than me, but I do travel a lot, and a lot of our clients, I thought it would be so useful, particularly with our mastermind event that's coming up in Miami shortly, or literally, in July, not far away. I thought it would be a great session where we could actually help some of our Australian clients, some of our UK, Europe, and US clients as well. Now, a lot of the content I know you mentioned is going to be mainly based around US providers, but as you and I discussed, a lot of it can be transferable as well, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the topics that I'll be using, the examples will be for Australian-based flyers. However, they're all part of an airline alliance called the One World Alliance. So that also incorporates other airlines such as British Airways in the UK, American Airlines, Alaskan Airlines in the US, and a number of other airlines around the world. So the trick behind it, of course, is to use all of those airline alliances to achieve your goals. So super relatable to your Australian clients and maybe Kiwi clients as well, but very, very usable in its own form around the rest of the world as well.
Love that. All right. Well, we're gonna share the screen, Leon. We'll get stuck in with you. I'm sure what we'll have the chat open as well. If there's any questions that come in off the back of this, I'll keep an eye on those too. And then we'll just share the screen and I'll hand over to you, sir. And looking forward to what you're going to share with us.
Yeah, fantastic. So thanks. It's really great to be here, Nick. And as I said, really keen to focus primarily today on how to use expenses that you're already spending. Like, let's face it, we all want to fly up the pointy end of the plane. We would like to fly in the premium cabins. And a lot of people think the idea of spending $20,000 to fly to the US from Australia is insane. And in many ways it is. But what I want to talk to you about is a way that I've been using expenses that I already incur to lessen that impact and be able to fly in business and first class without having to actually shell out the cash for it. So one of the things I want to start with, I guess, is a very quick disclaimer. And without reading all this rubbish, and if anyone's interested, I can send you the disclaimer. This isn't a job for me. This isn't a profession, so to speak. This is a hobby of mine. So everything I'm talking about today are things that I've done personally, things that I've played with, that I've enjoyed doing, if you like. But this isn't professional advice. Look it up yourself. Make sure that it works for you. Check your accountants. All the usual disclaimers. This is just my experience, and I just want to share that because I think for other entrepreneurs and other business owners, you can get some real benefit out of being able to do the exact same thing in your own circumstances. So just as a quick thing there, just make sure that we recognize this is just my experience that I wanted to share with you all.
Totally.
As I mentioned here too, there's so many approaches to point hacking and using points for your benefit. So, if you've got a better way, great. If you know someone else who's teaching a better way, great. This is just a way of sharing how I get the most, particularly using Qantas points out of Australia. But and it's primarily used for those in Australia wanting to attend, as you mentioned, Nick, your events in Miami. Yep. There's some ideas here that can help them attend that event or potential future events as well. And as I said, there's very similar opportunities for most other airlines as well. So we'll get stuck in. So as I mentioned, Qantas is my focus, my kind of primary airline, and it's part of the One World Alliance. So the very first step I want to talk to you about is when you're point hacking, you want to make sure you've got an objective and a plan. So you don't just collect points for the fun of it, really. So what's your objective? And for most people, and what I recommend, the primary objective is to be flying up the front end of the plane, flying in your business class and your first class seats when you travel for business or with family as well. So make sure you've got that objective. And if you keep that objective in the back of your mind, it'll allow you to kind of plan and focus on how you're going to achieve that. And as you mentioned, Nick, your events in Miami are great objectives to have in mind when you're collecting points and working towards that objective.
Okay.
Some quick terminology. I just want to go through some very quick things so we know we're talking on the same thing. First, we've got frequent flyer miles or frequent flyer points, and this is the currency. And you earn points by doing certain things. You spend points, particularly on premium cabin flights. So that's the first thing. We've got points. Next, we've got status. Now, slightly different to points. This is the way that the airline recognizes your loyalty. Now, with Qantas, there's a variety of colors, all the way from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and platinum 1. With British Airways, there's the Club World. There's a variety. American Airlines has AA Advantage, I believe. There's a variety of different things, but this basically is your level of flying and how the airline regards your loyalty. So the way to get status is lots of flying, of course. You can do status matches. So as an example, I'm with Qantas. I'm a platinum frequent flyer with Qantas. American Airlines from time to time will say, hey, come and fly with American Airlines, and we'll match that status with our airline. Okay. So it's a great way of matching multiple different airlines. And I have status with lots of airlines that I've flown very little with, just based on the fact that they're trying to entice my loyalty across to their airline by matching my current status with Qantas.
Okay.
And then we've got status runs, which is a whole other thing we can talk about another time, but it's the ability for you to get these benefits by doing these kind of quick selected little flights, which actually help you get that status and help you maintain the benefits that come with that status as well. So that's when we're talking about status. And probably the last thing about terminology is just when it comes to what are called classes. So your class of flight. Now, typically, most airlines have first class, business class, premium economy, and economy. Now, that's sometimes called different things. I know in the US, they call business class first class mostly. That's what they call it. But with Qantas, they have 4 different classes, and there's lots of fare buckets and different pricing around all those. But for the time being, what we're focusing on primarily is we really want to use these points, earn and use these points to fly business and first class. So the nice lie flat beds, all the nice, the comfortable stuff up the front. So our objective, so for this particular presentation, is people coming from Australia, in this particular case, flying all the way to Miami. And there's many ways to do that, of course. You can fly via Dallas-Fort Worth, which is a common way. Flying to Miami is just as quick to fly to London and then around to Miami as well from Australia. So there's lots of different ways, but that's what we're talking about now. In this particular case, how do we achieve a flight to Miami, return from Sydney in this case, but from wherever your clients are at the moment, and how do we get them to Miami, to your events? Now, just as a quick search yesterday, to fly Sydney to Miami, this is just a date I picked in the future, so October. To fly Sydney to Miami in business class, you're looking at $20,938. And that's what it costs to fly Sydney to Miami return if you just buy a business class saver ticket. Now, that's a lot of money for most business owners, and not that it's not worth it, but that it's still a big hit in the back pocket. Yeah, totally. Even if you were to fly economy Sydney to Miami, which would be hell on legs, but if you were to fly Sydney to Miami return in economy, it's still going to cost you just short of 3,000 Australian dollars to fly there and back at the back of the plane. Now, using points, if you use 318,000 points, and I'll show you how easy that is to get 318,000 points, and $1,014, you can fly business class both ways.
Wow.
So $20,000 or $1,014.
Yeah.
It's a third of the price of economy, and you'll be flying business class, sitting in a bed in Qantas anyway, pretty much exactly like that for the entire flight. So the 15 hours to Dallas, and then with American Airlines the rest of the way to Miami. So you can see here we're using an opportunity of points that we're probably already earning at the moment anyway by our credit card expenditure and our business expenses, and $1,000 in taxes, and we're getting the benefit of flying up the front.
Love that.
Now, as I mentioned, this is all about, this is what we're playing for. Now, all airlines have different what's called hard products. So this is Qantas's business class. It's a lie flat seat. Everyone's got aisle access. It's a beautiful suite in business class, and that's kind of the sweet spot. Business class is what we want, or J class as it's referred to. And the idea of flying, particularly for us Australians, the idea of flying 14 hours to anywhere else in the world on one of these actually makes it an appealing journey as opposed to sitting in economy.
Oh yeah,
So
totally.
the sweet spot is business class. Now we've got first class. That's first class in Qantas. So a lot more space, nicer service. Of course, Emirates has first class suites and showers in the sky and all those other fun things that you can do as well as Qatar, which is another member of the One World Alliance, which has the Q Suite, which is a set of 4 business class seats that can turn around and look almost like a boardroom in the sky. So there's amazing products that we're playing for here. Then we've got premium economy, which, is not ideal, but it's much better than economy. And of course, economy seating, which is not as luxurious as any of those things we just mentioned, but still something to consider when it comes to using points. Generally not, but something to keep in mind if you have a last minute trip somewhere and want to get it really cheap. So that's where we want to use our points. Where not to use your points. And this is a common thing that all of the airlines try and do. They all have their online shops. Don't use your points to buy toasters or to buy headphones or to buy a kettle or to buy anything like that they have in their shops. The value is simply not there compared to using it to fly up the front of a plane. So just as a broad rule, as much as it can be appealing because people think points are money for nothing, and in many regards they are a reward for your loyalty that it seems like money for nothing, that money for nothing can still be used on much more valuable things than buying an air fryer. The value is just not there, and we'll explain that in a calculation that I'll share in a minute. How's that going, Nick? So that's
I love that. I see it a lot actually, particularly with the programs I'm involved with. I see a lot of offers come up all the time looking to either use it for accommodation sometimes. The trip we just did to Cape Town, we were offered the same thing there, use it for the hotel, and it just doesn't quite work out the same way as you pointed out, really.
No, it just doesn't add up, and we'll talk about a quick formula that you can use to make sure whether it adds up or not. But basically, what the airlines are trying to do is they're trying to get you to use those points because they know what they could be valued at, and they obviously make a lot more money if they get you to use them at a lot lower value. So that's why you'll get a lot of marketing around that, but never get an email saying, "Hey, there's a business class seat going for 100,000 points." They'll never send you an email about that because they don't necessarily want you to know, sadly. So let's talk about some of the perks that you get from playing this frequent flyer game. And that's exactly what it is. It's a game. It's a bit of fun. It shouldn't become a full-time job for you. But this game that you can play, some of the perks you can get from that. So, of course, we mentioned, premium seating in particularly long-haul flights. So that's a big perk. Lounges. And look, personally, I fly a lot. I know, Nick, you fly a fair bit too. The idea of being able to get to an airport before a 14-hour flight and go to a beautiful lounge. This is my favorite lounge, the Qantas First Class Lounge in Sydney. Full restaurant, full service bar, sitting there for a couple of hours prior to a flight, meet up with clients and colleagues that are on the flight or that are going somewhere as well. For those that ever fly through Sydney or Melbourne in Australia and get to go to the First Class Lounge, I'm not a dessert person. This dessert is to die for. It's a signature pavlova that it's amazing that's in the lounge. In the lounge as well, you have things like full service spas and treatments, and there's nothing better than getting a pre-flight 30-minute back, neck, and shoulder massage. Lounges on board the aircraft. So particular aircraft with particular airlines have onboard lounges. This is Qantas's lounge, very underwhelming. Anyone that's flown on Emirates or Qatar would have seen amazing lounges, full service bars, cocktail bars, or on the aircraft as well. So you get the benefits of these, as well as things like increased baggage allowance. I've got 2 kids and a wife, so the idea of being able to take almost 3 times the baggage allowance complimentary is amazing. As I mentioned, domestic and international lounge access around the world, early access to these reward seats, having the ability to have seats released. When you hit a certain status, you can call the airline and say, "Hey, there's no seats available to take an upgrade or to use points. Any chance you can release a seat for me?" And you get that option for them to do that as well.
Okay,
you earn more points.
I've never heard that before. That's something I've never.
Yeah, it comes with status. So from in the Qantas frequent flyer system, from platinum and above, I have my own. There's a dedicated line that I can call and say to them, "Look, I'm flying to Dallas. I'm off to Dallas for a conference in July. I'm flying to Dallas. There's no seats available to use for points. It's just me going. Any chance you can open up one?" And more often than not, if it's 1 or 2 seats, they can make that happen for you or find an alternative, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You get better earn rates. You earn more points the higher the status you are. You get to use premium check-in counters, which is such a small thing. But for myself, my family and I fly a lot. We go on a lot of holidays and travel a lot through Asia and through the US. There's just something about being in an Asian airport with 10 million people there and being able to go and check in with first class, even if you're flying economy.
Yeah.
You can still check in first. That's a little thing that I like. And you get partner status recognition. So even though I'm a platinum frequent flyer with Qantas, I'm still treated like a platinum frequent flyer with American Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, and a variety of other One World Alliance airlines. They still treat me the same. I still get all these bonuses with them as well. So it's a nice little thing to have. And remember, I just want to reiterate, this is all by using or by generating points from expenses that I'm already spending in my business and in my personal life. So this is not, I'm not paying to have this per se, or paying very, very little to have this. It's all through expenses that I'm already incurring. So this is what everyone wants to know. How do we earn points? So there's a number of ways to earn points. First up, and as I said, remember, this is all about getting benefit from your existing expenditure. This is not about spending a ton more or paying a retail amount for this. This is all about just using expenses you're already incurring, but using them to get some benefit.
Yeah.
So first up, the value. So every year, and this is the same with all airlines, every year for Qantas anyway, Ernst & Young will value what a Qantas point is worth. For this year, it was valued at 1.9 cents. So they say, because Qantas needs to know how many points are out there and what kind of expenditure or liability they have with these points, the current value of a Qantas frequent flyer point is 1.9 cents. So the aim, as you can imagine, is to earn them for less than 1.9 cents and to redeem them at a value more than 1.9 cents to make it worthwhile.
Okay.
So this is a calculation. It's a really simple calculation. And that is when you're trying to determine whether something is worth doing to earn a point, all you need to do is just take what the additional cost or any cost over and above what you were going to buy that item for anyway, is divide that by the number of points you get, and that will tell you the frequent flyer point value. So I'll give you an example. So credit cards, and we'll talk about those very shortly. My favorite credit card has a $450 annual fee. So for me to use that card, it costs $450 a year. But when I sign up to that card, I get 150,000 frequent flyer bonus points. So $450 divided by 150,000 equals 0.3 of a cent per point. Now, if they're valued at 1.9 and I'm getting them for 0.3, that's a bargain. That's a good deal. So that's a tick. Now, same again, this is just another thing. So to use my credit card, and it's a common issue, and we'll cover this in credit cards shortly, there's a 1.5% credit card fee at times when I use my credit card.
Yeah. Now,
if I use my credit card at a 1.5% credit card fee on $2,000 of monthly expenses, that's $30. But that $2,000 in expenses gets me 2,500 frequent flyer points. So $30 divided by 2,500 is 1.2 cents. Now that's still less than 1.9, so it's still worth doing. And this is how you take the emotion out of frequent flyer points and don't accidentally buy toasters or that new set of wireless headphones that you're looking at, and just use the formula. And if it works, do it. If it doesn't, don't. Now, using an incorrect credit card or a less beneficial credit card, you'll see here a credit card where you spend the same amount, get the same fee, but you only get 1,000 frequent flyer points, works out at 3 cents per point. And if they're worth 1.9 and you're paying 3, don't do it. And that's how we just take all the emotion out of it. Really, really simple. And I'll talk at the end about a free Facebook group that I have that, you'll all be welcome to join. It doesn't cost anything. It's not a business. It's just where I jam on this with other entrepreneurs that are running their businesses and wanting to use points. I have a small little Excel calculator in there that you can just put this information and it spits it out really simply.
I love that. And Leon, with regards to getting those values, is this published anywhere on Ernst & Young, or how do you?
It's typically published on the airline's kind of annual return or annual statement.
Okay.
I would say don't typically worry about the fact that it's 1.9. Most people who do the point hacking kind of tools just work off it's anywhere between 1 and 2 cents per
Okay.
point. That's just what we work it out as. And what you'll find out now is, although this is a great formula, the real formula, if you like, is what you're paying for a point versus what you're getting for the point. And we'll cover that now when it comes to redemption values. So just like we did the same formula to make sure that we were below 1.9 cents for earning the points, the redemption value. So when we redeem, we want to make sure that we're getting a better benefit for our redemption than the 1.9 cents. You can see here the people that buy the Sunbeam New York Slice Toaster at $159 and pay 31,130 frequent flyer points for that. You can see here they're getting half a cent, so 0.5 of a cent of value. Now, if they're worth 1.9 and you're getting 25% of the value of what you spend for it. So not a good idea. In contrast, a business class flight from Sydney to Honolulu to go to Hawaii, which typically costs $6,108 one way, but you can use 108,400 frequent flyer points, you're getting 5.6 cents worth of value out of a 1.9 cent point. So that is a no-brainer. That's what we want to be doing. So that's that kind of formula. And as I said, I'll share that little calculator, but it's really simple. How much is it costing you versus how many points do you get? And for redemption, what's the value of what you're getting divided by the number of points to make sure that you're getting a good spend rate.
Love that. That's amazing.
So earning points. How do we earn points? Simple, fly. If you fly, you earn points. Every mile you fly, there's certain bands, but you earn a number of points, and that all varies depending on your airline. But typically you could earn anywhere between 5,000 points on a simple little domestic flight, all the way up to 60, 70, 80,000 points if you're flying business class from Sydney to London and return, something like that. So you can earn it by flying. And not just flying with Qantas. So Qantas is a part of the One World Alliance. Here's some of the bigger airlines that are also part of that alliance. So you fly with any of these airlines and put in your frequent flyer number and you will earn points. So this is a really, really big benefit. This One World Alliance is a fantastic opportunity. We'll talk on that more when it comes to opportunities on where you can fly and how. Points earning credit cards. This is a big one. And you'll see people do this all the time. They'll sign up to a credit card that's giving away a 100,000 point bonus.
Yeah.
They'll sign up to the card. They'll spend the $3,000 on that credit card that they're spending already. And then they'll close the card at the end of the year, not renew, and they'll get the bonus points. And that's a great way of doing this, particularly if you've got good books and good account keeping procedures, and you can show that you're eligible for credit cards. So a great way of doing it is to use points earning credit cards. And at the end, I'll tell you a few that I think are really worthwhile investigating anyway. We've got paying bills, and I'm talking paying big bills, not just your normal business expenses, but in Australia, paying for your tax bills, paying rental expenses for your business or premises, paying salaries. You can pay salaries using tools like pay.com.au in Australia. There's lots of them all around the world. And what it allows you to do is you pay pay.com.au on your credit card. Pay.com.au pay these institutions by direct debit out of their bank accounts. And you earn not just the points on the credit card, but you also get points from pay.com.au. So if you've got big tax bills that you're paying and big employee expenses that you're paying, any rental expenses, you can pay them through a third party provider like pay.com.au, and there's many of them, and earn a lot of points out of this. So again, you're getting points for something that you're already spending money on.
When you mentioned this on the session that I watched, I couldn't believe this, and there were so many people taken back by this that I generally think 99% of the population have no idea this is even something you can do.
No, which is why there's seats still available in business class. So, but I want people to do it. I want more business owners. I want more entrepreneurs. I want more people taking advantage of this because everybody wins.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic tool. And again, you're already spending this money. So the fact that you might spend a 1% fee to use this tool, but that 1% fee, which might cost you $1,000, gets you a $20,000 flight return from Sydney to Miami.
Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty good move.
Let me ask you, Leon, if you don't mind, you might be covering this, but why do you feel people don't do this? Is this a lack of understanding? Is this the factor on they're worried about the fees that they're getting charged?
I think it's what it is it's a misconception. So look, there's a whole movement out there about don't have credit cards, and you know what, for some people that's absolutely true. If you don't have discipline and you rack up huge credit card debt and you can't pay it off, that's going to be a problem. As business owners and entrepreneurs, most of us actually have an income to support that credit card.
Yeah.
So myself and my family, we live off 2 Amex credit cards, everything. If I go and buy a coffee, it goes on the Amex card. I pay it off within the 55 days interest-free period. I never paid a cent of interest in my entire life. But the points involved are just astronomical. And being a business owner, I've owned companies that turned over almost $100 million a year. And you think of the expenses that are associated with that. Yeah. Firstly, people don't know they can do it. Secondly, there's a whole mantra around, but they're going to charge me 1% or 2% credit card fee if I use that credit card, which is true. But what they're not seeing is the flip side of that. That 2% charge is enabling you to fly to Miami, return in business class, a $20,000 flight, and it might cost you $1,000 in credit card charges.
100%.
So there's lack of awareness about the benefit. There's just the hit to the pocket.
There's friends of ours who he literally has a card, not this particular one, but another airline. And he just had 4 first-class flights for his family to South Africa. It was back in October last year. 4 first-class flights there and back. And he paid something like $800. It was insane. Absolutely insane.
It is absolutely insane. And that's the interesting thing, is that people just don't see that. And the other thing you hear from time to time too is people say, yes, but you can never find these flights. Like these magical flights don't exist. Now, look, they do exist. Of course, the airlines are going to do everything they can to sell them at $20,000. They're going to sell it at the full ticket price. But there's just ways that, as I mentioned, if you've got an objective and you have a plan, there are ways that you can find those. There are services that will find it for you. Now, is it 100% guaranteed that I can look on a website right now and find a reward seat using points to fly anywhere I want next week? No. Yeah. It's very hard to find that, of course. It's all about availability. But if you have an objective and you have a plan and you know you're going to the next event in Miami, you can start to make plans around that. So the way to think about it is make sure that the reward is there for you. So you spend the 1% surcharge, spend the third-party surcharge to use pay.com.au or a similar tool if you know that you're going to get the benefit for it. So make sure you have a look at it that way. The second thing is know that this is a bonus. Like you're in a year, you're going to find a flight that's going to save you tens of thousands of dollars for spending that $1,000 worth of credit card fees. Yeah. Like you're going to find one. Now, I fly pretty much like my quick flight last minute across to New Zealand. That was all on points. I think it cost me $160 Australian to fly 2 domestic flights and an international flight in a lie flat bed, super comfortable, last minute return. Now, that was luck. I'm flying by myself. It's a lot easier when you've got one person, a lot harder when I fly with my family. 4 of us becomes a little harder to find. But in many ways, it's a bonus. This is a bonus for expenses we're already spending on.
Totally.
So if you see it can really work.
Sorry, on that one as well, one of the things we get this a lot, we were the British Airways one, the Amex one through British Airways. And we get a lot, every 2 months or so, you get a bonus, like an extra 10,000 points added because you spent X amount on that credit card. You know, so going back to the equation you made earlier, that's unaccounted stuff that's come through. And I'm not sure if you're going to touch on this. Another thing that we get a lot is we get free cabin upgrade bonuses because we've spent so much on the card as well.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy.
There's so many things you get. And when it comes to credit cards, like I said, this is not financial advice, but pick the right credit cards and you get travel insurance for yourself and your family. Now that could be $1,500 for the amount of flying I do with my family.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's included in the credit card. Now the credit card fee costs me $450 a year, and I get $1,300 worth of travel insurance. 100%. I get flight credits. I get premium access. I'm a big concert goer. My family and I do a lot of music concerts. We get premium access and first dibs at concerts when they're released. There's just a variety of extra bonuses you get. But for me, it's all about the flying, it's the travel. We're a big travel family. I travel a lot for work, and this gives me an opportunity to take advantage of that and get all the bonuses as well. If you have that mindset of this being a bonus, and you're already spending the money anyway,
yeah,
you'll be in the right frame of mind to be able to take advantage of it. That's for sure.
Love that.
So that's one of the things there. So point partners is another thing. So not just, you don't get points just by flying or just by using credit cards, but lots of other companies want you to shop with them, and they'll give you points for it as well. In Australia, there's car rental companies, accommodation, as we mentioned before, supermarkets, petrol and fuel stations offer that as well. You can find them and just not go out of your way necessarily, but if you've got 2 petrol stations you can go to fill up your car with petrol, then you might go to the one in Australia, it's BP, that gives you frequent flyer points as well. And it's just another thing that you're getting. You're going to spend that money on fuel anyway. Why not use it at a place that gives you some extra points for it?
And the way you do that, Leon, just so I'm clear, is that through looking at the car or the airline's partners, or is there particularly with One World, do they have a list of all those, or is it just airline specific, so to speak?
It's typically airline specific, only because just because of geographic restrictions, if you like. So in the UK, things like Tesco may have a points a loyalty scheme or a point system that they will align with Virgin or with British Airways or with somebody else. So just have a look at the airline's website and they'll tell you all of their point partners, and you can decide. And look, my very first home loan many years ago gave me 1 million points for using their home loan.
Oh,
so
wow.
I took the home loan, took the 1 million points, and 12 months later transferred it to a different provider, but still had the 1 million points.
Love that.
So there's lots of things you can do to earn points with a plan. And as I said, don't do it emotionally. Don't see 1 million points and go, wow. Just put it through that little basic calculation that I gave you, and if it works out, you can take a shot at it.
Love that.
And then there's heaps of other things. As I mentioned here, Qantas has a wellness app. So on my phone, if I go to the gym and I do 10,000 steps in a day, it gives me 10 frequent flyer points. Now, you're not going to be flying internationally business class on me doing 10,000 steps every day, but it's just another thing that I'm doing anyway. There's partner promotions, referral bonuses, and as I mentioned, home loans was another big one as well. And all frequent flyer programs and airlines will have these partnerships that you can use as well. So that's how we earn them. Now let's talk about how we use them. This is my family. It's my wife and 2 kids. This is us in 2019 in business class on Emirates. So probably my favorite one, we took myself and my wife and my 2 children, and we did 10 sectors in Qantas and Emirates business class. So we flew from Newcastle, where I live, to Melbourne, to Dubai, spent a couple of days or a week in Dubai, went to the UK, visited friends and my old business associates in the UK and in Scotland, went up to Lapland for just before Christmas, came back via Dubai, spent another week in Dubai, and then off to Bangkok and spent some time in Bangkok, and then back home to Australia.
Wow.
That was $100,000 trip.
Wow.
It cost me $2,196 and 1.2 million frequent flyer points. Now, that, as I said, to do that in business class was over $100,000. To do that in economy was $2,300 per person. Wow. And we did 4 of us in business class for 2,196 in taxes. Now, is that available all the time? No, that was planned about 9 months out from when we went and did it.
Yeah.
But trip of a lifetime, as you can see, young kids in huge, big business class seats, living it up. It's very hard to take my kids back to economy now because they're wondering where their hot towel and big in-screen entertainment is. But it was an amazing trip, and these are regularly available. And we do trips not quite as complex as that these days with school and everything, but we do trips like this at least once a year and are paying ridiculously cheap amounts. I would have been happy. Maybe not, but the cost-wise, I would have been happy to pay 2,196 that have done that whole trip in economy.
Yeah.
And we did it in business class.
That's insane. That's just amazing.
This is what we're playing for. So there's a number of ways to use points, and I'll skip through this pretty quickly because this is Qantas-centric, but Qantas wants you to use your points in a way that is beneficial for them and not so much for you. So it offers things like points plus pay. So you can pay half in cash, half in points. Not a good way of doing it, and I'll show you why here. You can see Sydney to Honolulu was using points plus pay was 1 million points. 1 million points to fly from Sydney to Honolulu. Now, that's a lot of points to fly points plus pay. Now, you can see next to it, if you use the reward seat, it's only 100,000 points.
Wow.
So why would you ever use that? But this is what they offer you for people that don't know any better. They might say, hey, I've got a couple of million points because I own a business. I'll just blow it on that. The return rate's not very good. So be careful. Not all things are beneficial. So points plus play and classic plus is another way that you can see here. Flying, this is flying from Melbourne to Dallas Fort Worth. It says you can fly that for 818,000 points. That's a lot of points as well. They're trying to entice you to use a big points balance to try and get a flight for next to nothing. So just be careful. Not all of them work out well. Now with Qantas, classic reward is the terminology. That's the one. So you can see here, as I mentioned before, Sydney to Honolulu, only 108,000 points. Now it's a $6,000 flight, 108,000 points. That's about 5.6 cents value in a frequent flyer point, which of course is worthwhile.
Yeah.
So again, no emotion. Don't get excited by the idea of, I've got 5 million points. I can spend $1 million to do one flight. Make sure you put it through that calculation and make sure that it makes sense. And then the other option too, and this is one that's commonly overlooked, and that is upgrades. So I've got a tool. I've done this a couple of times, particularly when I'm flying by myself for business. I've got a tool that will tell me what the current load of an aircraft is. So I can have a look right now at a flight that's leaving in 3 days, and it'll tell me what seats are empty and what seats are full.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't tell me who's in them or anything, of course, but it tells me that, hey, this business class is half full or economy is absolutely full. So I use that tool, and if I'm flying myself, as I said, like over to New Zealand, like I am now, and I can see that aircraft is essentially empty and I'm leaving in a couple of days, what I can do is I can buy an economy seat and put in a request to upgrade and use points, 60,000 points, like it says here, to be able to upgrade. Now, that's great because it's very, very low points to go from pay for very cheap economy airfare and be able to fly business class. So it's a great option if you're flying by yourself and you don't mind maybe not getting it, but it's a gamble. So you won't know until 72 hours or 24 hours out from the flight whether or not you'll get it. But if you're flying by yourself and you've used a tool like I use to be able to see what the cabin occupancy is like, you can roll the dice and try your luck. And I've had that work a lot of times for me.
Okay.
I will give you a word of caution. There's nothing worse than when you start to get accustomed to flying business and first class, then rolling the dice, buying in a cheap economy seat, and then business class filling up and you having to sit in economy for that flight.
Yeah.
You typically have, a very kind of sour look on your face for the entire flight. So it's, if you don't mind rolling the dice or you don't mind having a go, it's a great opportunity to use points in a really valuable way. But remembering it is a gamble. If the aircraft becomes full or the seats all sell out, then you're flying economy. And if you can handle that, then it's a great way of using it. And I still use that from time to time and have had a pretty good success rate.
Okay, love that.
So I just want to talk now about route planning. Now this is the key, and I'll try and do this for kind of lots of your clients and their locations. If you're trying to fly from Sydney to LA direct with Qantas, that's a very busy route. And if you try and get a frequent flyer kind of points redemption on that route, it's going to be difficult because it's always full. It's a very, very popular route and there's not always seats available.
Okay.
And I'll say it's the same if you're flying from London to JFK. It'd be the same. If you're flying from LA, from LAX to JFK, the same. Very popular routes, very difficult to find those redemptions. However, with a basic knowledge of some route planning, you can take a hop through another hub that's less busy and usually has a lot more opportunities for redemption. So I'll use an example again. For Australia, if I want to fly to the US, you can fly from Sydney to Nandi, which is in Fiji, spend a day in Fiji or not, you can just transit, but Sydney to Nandi in Fiji, and then go from Fiji to LA or to Dallas or to San Francisco through that way. Still beautiful aircraft, beautiful experience, but you get a 2-hour longer flight as you hop through that location. A lot more valuable, a lot more available.
Oh, okay.
So looking at the way you can get to a place can be really beneficial. When I fly to the US, I very rarely fly direct. I'll fly from Sydney to Honolulu to the US, or I'll fly via Nandi, as I mentioned, in Fiji, or I'll fly via Japan. It adds a couple of hours extra on, but the availability is so much more open. And that gives you the opportunity to fly what will be a 14-hour flight in business class, as opposed to a 12.5-hour flight in economy, because you're going on a very busy route.
Yeah.
So just keep an idea of the way you can do some route planning. And to use your example, Nick, from Australia, I can fly from Sydney to Johannesburg in South Africa. I can fly direct, very busy route. I can fly Sydney to Singapore, Singapore to Johannesburg, which adds about 7 hours to the trip. I love Singapore, so I've got no problem being a couple of hours in the Singapore airport. But it'll add 7 hours to the trip, but it's much more available, and I'll fly business class the whole way for a lot less. So if you don't mind doing a hop through another place, you can get a lot more availability.
Okay.
So this is, and you can all find this on your own airlines websites, but this is Qantas's current route map around the world. Now, it's probably 6 months out of date. There's a lot more coming, and very soon there's the what's called Project Sunrise, which is Sydney to London direct, Sydney to New York direct, which will be 22-hour flights.
Wow.
On new specially designed aircraft that are coming starting end of next year. So you can think of this is Qantas's network if I wanted to fly direct to any of these locations with Qantas. Now, all of your airlines will have these. You can look them up on their website. They'll have their route map. What I wanted to show you was, if you use the One World Alliance, which is what Qantas is a part of with all of these airlines, look at what it does to your route map. Yeah. So this is now, this is how you can fly around the world using all of these airlines. Now, it's, the diagram shows it perfectly. You have so many more options to be able to fly anywhere around the world and bounce through one of these amazing cities, flying through Hong Kong. And look, personally, I love the idea of spending a day or two in one of these cities that I stay in and just go and soak up the culture, or eat the food is another favorite of mine, and just hang out for a day or two, or even a couple of hours. Japan is amazing for fly from Sydney to Narita in Japan, which is just outside of Tokyo. Spend it's an 11-hour stopover. So I'll go into Tokyo, I'll have a wander around for a couple of hours, I'll come back, sit in the first class lounge for a couple of hours, and then continue my flight from Japan onto the US. There's just so many ways you can have other experiences, but it enables you to have more availability to open up options to fly business and first class for practically free. So always look at your routes. Understand there's always another way of getting somewhere apart from direct A to B, and sometimes it can be a lot more fun as well. Yeah. So just keep that in mind when you're planning your routes. For Qantas anyway, Qantas and Emirates isn't a part of the One World Alliance, but Qantas and Emirates have a special alliance themselves between the two of them, which is fantastic because personally, I love Dubai. It's an amazing place to go visit, and Emirates is a great airline to fly with.
Yeah.
One last thing I want to touch on, a bit of plane geekery, if I may. I'm a massive plane geek because I do so much travel, is picking your aircraft. Now, having a basic understanding of what plane you're flying on will tell you what kind of product you're going to get on. So I'll use Qantas as an example. So Qantas has 3 different airlines. Has the A380, the Super Jumbo, the double decker, has the Dreamliner, and has the A330. These 3 aircraft have this business class suite in it. Okay. So if you're trying to fly somewhere business and your aircraft, you check the aircraft and it's one of those 3, you're going to get this kind of experience, which is fantastic. But the reason you want to know the aircraft is, I just flew across again from Sydney to Auckland last night, and I flew on this 787 Dreamliner. So this one here is the one I flew on. It has this seat. I was sat in 3K, beautiful seat, very comfortable. It's only a 3-hour flight, but still really lovely. There are 4 other flights out of Sydney that come to Auckland that fly in a 737, and this is business class. Now, excuse my being a business class snob, but no direct aisle access, no lie flat bed, no comfort. It's a lot more comfortable than economy. Nice wider seats, a little bit more reclining, but it's not the same as a lie flat bed. and the comfort you get here. So, and this will be the same across all airlines. Some airlines have their kind of domestic, smaller areas. I know British Airways used to be famous or infamous maybe for its business class on some aircraft was just the 3 seats, but the middle seat was blocked out.
Yeah.
So you're still sitting in an economy seat, but you just don't have anyone sitting in the middle. So that's happened a couple of times as well. So just be aware of the aircraft that you're traveling on. And typically, as a rule, I don't use points to fly like domestically business class because it's not worth it. Anything less than 3 hours, you're not really getting much benefit. And I'm happy to sit in a normal seat for less than 3 hours. It's the long haul flights. It's the flights, across the Pacific, across the Atlantic, flights like that can really benefit from having the luxury of a lie flat or close to lie flat seat. So make sure you know your plane, make sure you know the seat configurations, and that'll all be available on the airline's website as well. So what can you do to make this happen? So first up, join the frequent flyer program of your regular airline. Most of them are free. Some of them have started charging like $99 or something like that, something equivalent, 50 quid, to join the frequent flyer programs. Join the frequent flyer program. You're already spending money. You're already flying. You may as well get some points from it. So join that straight away. At the end of this presentation, I'll share some links for those that want to use Qantas. I have links to make sure it's $99 to join this, but I've got links that'll get it to you for free. That I just know that I can share. That means you don't have to pay for it. Join the frequent flyer program. For those that are with Qantas and probably with other airlines, I'm not sure. They've also got like a business program as well. So in Qantas, it's called Qantas Business Rewards. And what this enables me to do is not only am I a frequent flyer and I have their frequent flyer program, but my business has it as well. And the best thing about that is when I fly, so when I flew from Sydney to Auckland, I get the points for flying. My business gets the points for flying. And then I just transfer the business's points to me. So I'm getting a double dip. Most airlines will have a business program. Again, can cost anywhere between $100 and $300 to join. For those of you who want Qantas, my link will give you this for free as well because I've got a free link you can use. But definitely worth doing. You get extra benefits. You can share points. You can gather points from your employees or any team that fly. Your business will get them as well as them getting them. So it's a great way of collating those points. And you can distribute those points any way you like. Give them to staff as a bonus. Give them to staff to fly on a holiday. Give them to yourself for you and your family to fly on a holiday. Do whatever you like. So it's a great opportunity. So have a look at that for your particular airline.
Yeah, and we take a lot of the team with us to our Miami events as well. Typically 8 will come to those events. So, by the time that stacks up, it's a lot of points if you're not using that business reward scheme as well.
Absolutely. And they still get the points. You're not taking them off your team.
No, totally.
Your team will get the points for flying, for actually physically flying, and will get status as well. But as the business buying it, usually put your in Australia, your ABN, but your business number in, and it will also reward the business for choosing to be loyal to that airline. So there's a real opportunity there, particularly for those or for you, Nick, and for other clients that have team and are running business expenses through it. It's a great opportunity for you to kind of double dip on your points. Look, credit cards. Again, this will be Australian specific, but you'll find them. Amex is typically the best. Point earning credit cards. In Australia, there's a Qantas Business Rewards card. This is my go-to card. It's cheap. You get great benefits for it. Like I said, $450 a year. You get 1.25. And this is a trick too, sorry. Make sure that how many points. The thing you're looking at for the card is not just the bonus points you get for joining up. So if people join up today to this card, they'll get 170,000 bonus points. That's a return trip, a Sydney to LA return, 170,000 points. So you get that just for signing up for $450. Yeah. So it's a real great card, and there's plenty of them out there for all your different areas and locations. But make sure you get a good bonus, but you get a good points per dollar spent amount. So your target is more than 1 point per dollar spent on that card. And there are plenty of cards out there that will give you half a point per dollar spent.
Okay.
It's not worth it. Well, it's better than nothing, but typically this particular Qantas Business Rewards Amex gives you 1.25 points per dollar spent, gives you 2 points per dollar spent with Qantas, which is great when I'm buying airfares.
Nice.
This card is available all around the world. You get 250,000 bonus points for joining it. Now, it has got a very expensive annual card fee, but you get 2.25 points per dollar. So again, work out what the $1,700 a year costs you. Now you get like $1,000 travel credit with this card and travel insurance. It's definitely worthwhile for business, but the points per dollar is amazing. Use a card like this, put your Facebook ads on it, put your business employee expenses and everything on it. It's well and truly worth it. And these are available in the world, so you can look at those for your particular region. And then,
Leon, if you don't mind, just
of course,
on that one. If you take a new card like that, let's imagine you were on the British Airways one now. Yep. You take this new card out instead of the new American Express Business one. Can you transfer the points over or not?
The points you can. The downside, the trick with Amex is that if you're on the British Airways Amex now and you sign up to a new Amex, you won't get the bonus points because you're already an Amex customer.
Okay.
So you have to have not been an Amex customer for 18 months before they'll give you the new points, because it's to encourage people to come across. Now, in my experience, they hold pretty firm to that. I have had one instance where my account manager, where I upgraded to this American Express business, and I told my account manager that, well, if I can't get the bonuses, I'm not going to upgrade. And they didn't want to lose the $1,800 a year fee.
Okay.
So they said, on this case, we'll give you the 250,000 bonus points.
Nice.
Doesn't happen all the time, but it can't hurt to ask politely, because sometimes they want the business and they'll do that. So, but again, I want to stress, not financial advice here. Have a look at what works for you and your business in your region, in your country, and just make sure that the points per dollar earned is high and that you're getting a decent bonus out of it, as well as all the other bonuses that come with the card. At the end of this, I'll share this Facebook group that I have. This is the kind of thing we jam on there. People say, hey, I'm thinking about getting this card. What do you reckon?
Okay.
And they're from all around the world, and they'll comment going, oh, I didn't find that one really good, or that was great, but they never paid me my points. Or it's just a great little forum discussion area for people that are trying to get the right things.
Love that.
Now, not everywhere takes American Express. It is old think that very few people take it. American Express is very, very accepted around the world. A lot more regular than we actually want to acknowledge. However, there are still some people that just have old terminals that haven't enabled American Express to be able to be taken, and have this thought that they don't take it. So it's always good to have a non-American Express credit card as well. I have this one in Australia. It's as you can see, it's only, you get $1 point per dollar spent up to a limit, and then it goes down to half a point per dollar. So not the greatest, but for the occasional time where they won't take Amex, I'm still getting a points bonus from using this card.
Okay.
So it's always good to have a second card anyway, but good to have a second card that can not be Amex and still be able to take some frequent flyer points. And this is the kind of card that you would churn. So I would use this card this year, get the 90,000 bonus points. I'll close this account. I'll take a different bank's one, get another 80,000 or 100,000 points, use that one for a year. Then I'll bounce back to this one again after a year. And just every year, you're just getting an extra 90 or 100,000 points. It's just another nice little bonus to help with an upgrade or to help with another trip.
Yeah, totally.
Partners. This is Australia centric as well. I'm sure it'll be the same in the UK and the US. Woolworths is a supermarket in Australia. They have their own reward scheme, but their reward scheme ties to Qantas. So every time I buy my groceries, we buy with Woolworths anyway, or excuse me, I get a massive section of points. They transfer across to Qantas points, and you can imagine just buying my weekly grocery bills, and before you know it, you're getting 80, 90, 100,000 points a year just off that you're already spending. You're already buying a grocery. So have a look out for those kind of loyalty partners as well. I won't go into this too much, but there's ways you can look at. You can see here this Woolworths had a 20 times points bonus if you bought gift cards. So I went to buy all my new iPad and my new iPhone and all those things that I was going to buy anyway. So instead of going to the Apple store and buying it with my credit card and getting a set of points from my credit card, I went to this supermarket, bought a bunch of gift cards with my credit card,
Nice.
and then got the points from my credit card and the 20 times points for using this. And then I walked into the Apple store with 3 Apple gift cards and bought the same things anyway and got 20 points. So there's, these kind of things. And again, my Facebook group, we see these and we share them up there when they're decent. There's little opportunities like this to just get a nice little points injection from time to time.
Love that.
And petrol. BP in Australia has tied with frequent flyer. I'm sure there'll be ones around the world that are tied with their frequent flyer as well. It just means that now I always fill up there because I get an extra couple of points every time.
Yeah, totally.
Hotels is another one, maybe for another time. Again, I'm staying in an Accor hotel here in Auckland. They're tied with frequent flyer, and there's real benefits of being, members of these hotel alliances as well. But that's probably a topic for a different time. But I tie to frequent flyer points as well. So I'm here.
Do you find that they transfer well? Like the rates of exchange works well with those or not?
Some do, some don't. Accor is very good. There are other ones that say they do it, but you get 1 point for every $10 spent. So stay somewhere nice for a week and you end up with like 20 points. I get more for filling up my car with petrol. So it just depends which ones. But also I will say, and as I said, a topic for another day maybe, but hotel loyalty and hotel things, because I travel a lot, just like airlines, I like to stay in nice hotels, and there are smart things you can do. I'm staying in an executive suite today that I paid for the cheapest possible room and got upgraded to this, and get to use the executive lounge and all those kind of things, just because I'm already spending the money. I'm picking a hotel that I like, but because of my loyalty, you get the benefits of that as well. It just happens to go across with Qantas as well on this one. So there's options there as well. A couple of pro tips quickly. Status matches, as I mentioned earlier, many airlines will try and entice you if you're loyal to, say, British Airways, and other airlines will try and entice you across. And they're not just airlines in your region. I'm a platinum member with United in the US, and I've flown United once in my entire life. They were trying to get me to fly to the US using United. So they matched my status. I flew to the US once with United. That gets me 12 months worth of status match with them. So when I'm in the US and I happen to be flying around domestically, I now have an opportunity to still have the benefits, but not necessarily being loyal to American Airlines. And some people will argue United's better than American Airlines. I'll stay out of that argument. But there's different opportunities for you to get matched status with other airlines as they try and lure you across. So take advantage of those, typically free. Double status credits, that's a Qantas thing, but the status is what gets you, I guess, loyalty in your airline. Sometimes they'll say, hey, every flight booked in the next week will give you double the status, and that enables you to get to a higher status much quicker. So keep an eye out for those. Hotel alliances, as I just touched on, there's a lot of hotel alliances which you get benefits from and can help you with frequent flyer points. And then seat loading software, that's if you get really into it like I do. I really want to up my chances of getting upgrades, so I'll pay the $100 a year and get the software that'll tell me what my chances are.
Okay.
With Qantas, frequent flyer points do not expire as long as there's activity, one bit of activity in your account every 3 years. So if you haven't flown, haven't used a credit card, and done nothing in 2 years and 10 months, go and fill your car up with petrol, and that activity will restart it again. So just be aware of, I think frequent flyer points are currency. So you wouldn't ignore your bank balance for 3 years and hope that it's still there when you next go and have a look. Treat your frequent flyer points the same. Make sure you know what your program does. Programs are different. Some programs will expire after a certain amount of time. So make sure you don't fall foul of that. And also look at opportunities for family transfers. So when I do fly with my family, 4 of us fly somewhere, I can't transfer status. So they get their own status, but they've all got their points in their own little point accounts. Even my kids have frequent flyer membership. Now they've all got points there. I can transfer them all to anyone in the family. And of course, because I've got the biggest status, they'll transfer to me and they do more with me. So make sure that you're pooling your points and using them the best way you can.
There's one other question there, Leon, if you don't mind. One of the ones I see a lot is the I see a lot of people take a quick flight, or they'll do an extra flight just to maintain their status too, because the rewards of that status are so good that they don't want to lose it for the sake of just taking a flight for a day and coming back. Any thoughts around that one?
Absolutely. So they're called status credit runs. I'm an enormous fan of it. Some people think I'm insane, to the point where in Australia, I actually organize other people that are interested, and we'll do it together. So the benefits are so, for me and for my business and for the amount of flying that myself and my family do, the benefits of maintaining status are so valuable to me, that in a year I might spend, say, $2,500 on what we call a status run. So I'll get together with 3, 4, 5 other business owners. We will map out an interesting little trip, across to New Zealand or up to Singapore or something like that. And together, we'll all go to the lounges. We'll pay for a business class flight, let's say to Singapore return.
Okay.
We'll all meet. We'll hang out in the lounge. We'll all jam on business and talk about life and have some fun, have a few drinks in the lounge. Everything's free. We'll fly to that location, spend a day or two there, do some work, meet with some clients, and then fly back home. And doing that will be enough to make sure we maintain our status.
Yeah.
They're called status credit runs. If they're again, take the emotion out of it. I would do it if I couldn't have status. I would still do it because I enjoy the hanging out with other business owners and masterminding in planes and in airline lounges. And I just enjoy it. It's a great experience, but it is a fantastic way of maintaining status.
Yeah,
and I recommend
I lost one of my statuses by something like 200 points.
Yeah, it hurts.
It was, crazy, just because I could have taken one extra flight if I'd planned it out a little bit better. It comes down to, like you said, we need to be planned. We need to do it for a particular purpose. But definitely missing that particular status with that particular airline right now.
I will say one little tip on that too is, as with everything in life, it can't hurt to ask. So during COVID, particularly in Australia, like all the airlines shut down. We couldn't fly anywhere anyway. So they were kind enough to kind of keep our status for another year.
Okay.
But after that, even still, as the airlines opened up and people weren't traveling as much, I was going to fall short by a couple hundred status credit points as well. Just by ringing up and explaining that, still loyal, been loyal for X amount of years. Is there any way you can give me those points complimentary? I've had a pretty good success rate with that as well. Now, not always. I've heard of people not getting it. And if you have to get 1,000 status credit points to maintain your status and you have 10, then asking them to comp it is very different to if you're at 960 and you're just short.
Yeah,
they may comp it once or twice. So it can't hurt to ask, is what I say. Yeah, they can tell you no, but there's a polite ask and an explanation and showing that you've been loyal. I've been a platinum frequent flyer for 19 years. So if I was to miss it for some reason, I feel relatively confident that they would probably give me a free pass once maybe. But it can't, as I said, it can't hurt to just give them a call and ask 100%. As well. So that's it. I mean, questions, more than happy to field any other questions. As I said, I'd like to, with your permission, of course, Nick, I'd like to share
100%.
2 links. Where can I share those?
Yeah, you can pop them in the chat if you want to, Leon. More than happy.
Is that the private chat thing?
Yeah, there's a chat. If you put them in the chat, we can get those up, and I'll also put them in the comments as well. So there you go. I will grab that one now.
Sorry, I'll just put these 2. So the two that I've just shared. So I'm not overly familiar with Restream, but the 2 that I've put in there. One is it's just a landing page for some free resources, particularly for those in Australia. It'll help you with those free links to join frequent flyers, Qantas Business Rewards, pay.com.au, which is the tool I recommend, and some credit card referral recommendations as well. Feel free to use them or not. That's absolutely fine. And the second one is the Facebook group. It's just it's a hobby group. There's a small focused group of people in there, but we're constantly talking about what worked, what didn't. How do I get to Lapland, but still get to visit 3 other places on the way? There's a couple of things in there that can be beneficial.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's the power of this. You and I connected through our mastermind group. And the value you've provided there to this community is insane. I am extremely grateful. I'm sure the groups that you have there, those little suggestions, the one where you mentioned about 20x the point, is just insane to get those things.
Yeah,
So,
and look, it takes one story like that to inspire you to have a look at that as an option.
yeah, 100%.
And everyone in that group has had a redemption. A particular gentleman, Conrad, in that group, wanted to take his mother to Hong Kong as a 60th birthday present. Took her to Hong Kong and paid for it all with points that we just discussed and jammed on, not just me but the community. And you can just imagine taking your mother to Hong Kong for a holiday, and it cost you $97 or whatever it was in taxes. That's and 100,000 points, and fly your elderly mother up in business class. It's a lot of fun. And I want to stress two things. I just want to finish with this. You're already spending this money. Put all your expenses through one of these cards. Your accountants love it because the credit cards have great record keeping. You're already spending the money, so get a benefit from it. Get another benefit from it. And secondly, it is a game. Like, this is a game, and you win some, you lose some, you try and get a trip and you miss out. Oh, well, you pay business class this time. But the next time and the next time and the next time that you get it, you always end up in front if you just have a plan and use it as a game. I think it's a great opportunity for you to get a benefit on things that you're already spending.
And this is the point, we've got some, for example, some of our clients, we work with early education, as you know. So some of them can be tuition centers, but some of them are multiple location childcare centers, spending 20 to 50,000 a month easily, but not using credit cards to do that per location. And it's insane when you think about what they could be doing. But then I've got the other end of the spectrum where friends of ours one of them runs a big steel company where had hundreds of thousands of points on his card, never ever used them, used them. And so I couldn't agree with you more, Leon. Like, this session, I've got so many notes just because it was I watched it the first time round, and there were things I picked up there, like the payroll one, but even more so, there's so much value there in what you're sharing. I honestly cannot thank you enough. A lot of our US clients and UK clients will watch us tomorrow when they get up. It's late for them now, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments off the back of this. People really appreciate the value you've shared. I cannot thank you enough. Guys, if there's any questions, please put them in the chat. I'm going to tag Leon in off the back of this as well. I'll put it out publicly on my page because I felt that this isn't just helping our community. There's so much value that Leon's sharing. There are so many business owners that we're connected to that I thought it would be valuable for you guys too. So that's why I put on my personal profile as well. Leon, I'm extremely grateful for you, sir.
Guys, welcome, Nick. It's been fun.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Guys, put your comments, love and appreciation down below. And Leon, good luck with the session you're delivering. I hope to catch up with you soon, and look forward to joining that group of yours as well.
Sounds great. I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate you guys. See you